It's always a privilege to come to you, and it's always an honor to have you listening to us on our podcast and our other contents. Today, the topic of our discussion is the picture of a real man. Who is a real man? What does a real man look like? What is he supposed to look like? Of course, I know when you ask People magazine, they will put up a picture of a very handsome, muscular guy, and then they will tell you this is the sexiest man alive. Of course, with no offense with whoever has won that title in the past, being sexy or muscular has nothing to do with being a real man. I tell you what, it is tough being a man these days. It is very, very hard because the kind of assault we have seen on the male child and manhood in general has been relentless, and it has never been this relentless since time immemorial. Men have been pushed to the brink. They have been stretched beyond their elasticity. The man's position in the society is no longer obvious. So most of us men are we're living in confusion and uncertainty. We've been reduced to being spectators in our own affairs. Being a man is simply no longer as specific or as clear as it used to be. But from the beginning, let me just say that being a man is not a position of power or privilege. Being a man is a position of leadership. So if you look in the Bible says the man is supposed to be the head of his family. So according to the mind of God, you as a man are supposed to be the head. In God's wisdom, when he created a man, he said, this is the head. Now, when I was looking at that thing of being a head, you are called upon to provide headship. Okay? If you are a man, then you're supposed to be the head. But what does the head do? Remember, I said being a man is not a position of power, it's a position of leadership. Because if you look at your body, I doubt how much power your head has. If you have to hit someone with your head, okay, of course, that depending on how big is your head. I'm assuming if you have a big head, then you can really hurt someone. But if you look in the anatomy of the head, it becomes very clear what God meant, or the intention of God calling a man the head of the family. And if you don't have a family yet, you are still a head. It doesn't mean that you are exempted from this discussion. If you are a man and you don't have a family, I want you to know that your family is still trapped in you. You could be the head of your siblings. You could be the head of your ailing mother. You could be the head. Maybe you have a single mother as your mom. You can be the head of that family. But if you have no family at all, I want you to know that you are the family. You are the head of the family which is still trapped in you. So that means you must do everything to prepare for your future family as the head. So I was saying, if you look at the anatomy of the head, you get to understand why being a man is very, very crucial, and why everybody who's trying to bring down a man is trying to kill the society. Let us look at the anatomy of the head. The head carries the brain, okay? And we know the brain to be the headquarters of the central nervous system. That is the center which is in charge of bringing information, carrying information in and out of the body, and processing that information to make sense of your living. And the brain's job, of course, is to regulate and to control activities of the whole body. Are we together thus far? So as a head, it is not a must that you must have money. No one said that you must have money to become a real man. It's not a must that you have properties. You must own property so that you can be a real man. As long as you are able to perform this one singular duty of regulating and coordinating the activities of your family, you don't have to worry about something else. Everything will fall in place. Now, I want you to understand also that the head is the place where thoughts are processed. Of course, you're still in the brain. That is where the thoughts are processed, where plans are hatched, where projects are manufactured, where thinking is done. That is the center of emotions, okay? As a man, you are the guy to regulate the mood in the family. You are the one to provide that love. You are the one to determine when there is anger, bitterness, hatred, love, all those emotions, because you are the central processing unit, if we speak in computer terms, of your family. You are the CPU of your family unit. Without this, if you're not the CPU, Even if they give you $1 million, that money will evaporate in a couple of days and we go back to being a useless ping pong man. Now, we've had so many things. They say, oh, men are supposed to provide, men are supposed to be to protect, men are supposed to be, the watchmen of the family. Look. All those things are true, but you need to understand that before you provide any of those things, the first provision is regulation and the coordination of your family. Now, let us look at the head now very closely. Let us look at what's on the head and the function of those particular organs that we have on the head. Your head carries the eyes, okay? First of all, before we talk about the head carrying the eyes, I want you to realize that out of the five senses in their modalities, 4 of them are located on your head. And the first one, of course, is the sense of seeing. Your eyes. Your head carries your eyes. Now, many people may have money, but they lack vision. Okay? What is vision? Vision simply, if I were to simplify vision for you, I would say vision is the foresight and the insight. The foresight means the thinking ahead, envisioning and planning for the future. Insight means that now where you are, you have intuition and the clarity of the mind to understand and to navigate the environment you live in. So be the head that will carry the vision. You cannot allow your children to be leading the whole agenda and you take a back seat as your wife runs the affairs of your family. That is not right. That is not being a man. Okay? Now when you look at the head again, the head carries the ears. I want you to understand that your ears are not for hearing. The ears are for listening. Most of us men, I know. Most of us men, we are guilty. We hear too much, but we listen very little. In fact, some of us, we don't listen at all. Okay, you may ask yourself, what is listening then? What is this thing called listening? This is what listening means. Listening means paying attention to what is being said to you, and about your family. Basically, listening is gathering information, is taking in information and processing information so that you can be effective as a head. Okay? So I want you to start listening going forward. Most of us talk too much. We use our mouth to talk too much, but we don't use our ears to listen. But also, the head carries the nose. Okay? The nose is not for smelling. Please, people, I want you to understand that this is not a biology class. This is real life stuff. The nose is for detecting. The nose is for reconnaissance. The nose is for fishing out sensitive information. The nose is for sensing and smelling great opportunities for you and your family. Or why do you think people say that someone is nosy? When they say someone is nosy, it simply means that this is a person who always is trying to eavesdrop on people and trying to poke his nose to fish out information where they are not invited. So your nose is supposed to smell out every boy who comes to see your daughter. Your nose is supposed to smell what your son is browsing in the middle of the night. I know. People will hate me for saying this. But man, that's why you are the head. That's why you are the nose of the family. You're supposed to sniff every association your wife joins, every circle, every charmer, as they say in East Africa. You have to see if it passes the smell test. If it does not pass the smell test, then you have to, if you smell a rat with the association of your wife, you have to pull her out. You have to save her. I think maybe that's what they mean by protection. Use your nose to smell every danger, every opportunity for your family. Now, the head also carries the mouth and the tongue. Ladies and gentlemen, actually gentlemen, because I'm talking to men today, use your mouth to speak. Use your mouth to bless your children. Use your mouth to prophesy to your children. Crooks are taking advantage of our girls in the name of being prophesied to. It is so unfortunate if you are a man and you have a mouth and your daughter gets to hear the word "I love you," "you are beautiful" from some crook outside, from some guy who's trying to take advantage of her. Use your mouth to compliment your wife, to lift up your children, to motivate your family, to motivate yourself and motivate people around you. We cannot allow the crooks who are roaming the streets today, and some of them are found in the church, to be taking advantage of our wives because they can speak and you are busy in your phone, you are busy on television watching soccer and everything else, but you cannot pronounce yourself and speak to your family and speak wisdom. Use your mouth to rebuke your children. Use your mouth to assert your authority. Use your mouth to make sure that you provide direction and leadership. You need to speak up and say, the position of this family is this one. The position or the direction of this family, this is what we are doing. Use your mouth to communicate clarity. Clearly communicate where you stand on issues. In your house, you must say, this is how we use money. This is how we use electricity. This is how we receive visitors. This is how we pray. Don't be quiet when you're supposed to speak, but also don't speak when you're supposed to be quiet or when you're supposed to be silent. By the way, something I did not say about listening. When you look at the word listen, if you rearrange those words, exactly the same letters, you will get the word silent. Listen and the silent is the same spelling when you rearrange the letters. So talking about you being the mouth and the tongue of your house, just to make sure that you listen when you're supposed to listen. Allow your mouth or force your mouth or command your mouth or direct your mouth to be quiet when it's not time to speak. Because there are men who talk too much. In fact, they talk too much more than women. And you are a man. Come on. If you have a beard, there are some things that should not happen to your mouth. Like I said before, you realize that out of 5 senses that govern how we obtain information, 4 of them are located on your head. Only the sense of touching is not exclusively on your head, and there's a reason for this. And the foolish weak men have prioritized the sense of touching. They want to touch and grab everything that moves in a skirt. Most of them have abdicated from the 4 main senses that offer direction and stability for our homes and society. Now, I want you to realize that power is not part of being the head. Only weak men use force and violence. The moment you see a man trying to use power, the moment you see a man trying to use force and violence, the moment you see a man trying to use muscles, they have engaged the sense of touching. And just know, that is a man who cannot use his head properly. Men whose brains have switched off, bankrupt of ideas, will resort to force and violence. And like I said, force and violence are only expressed through the sense of touching. You have to hit somebody. You have to hit your woman. You have to hit your wife. You have to hit your children, because you have lost the ability to use your eyes, to use your smell, to use your nose to smell danger. And then you become a primitive man who has to solve everything using his fists. I need women to understand something. If you are a woman and you are listening to me today, I want you to understand this. It is not simple to become a real man. For someone to becoming, just a restless boy to becoming a real man, it's a long process and it's a hard process. Real men are very rare to come by. And real men may not come in 6-packs with 6-packs. Good men, most of the time, they are boring and they look like losers. Real men may not be tall, dark, and handsome. Please get this nonsense out of your mind. But when a real man makes you women pregnant, they don't run away. They are not afraid to take responsibilities. Real men are not afraid to take responsibilities. They don't dump you for the next teenager when your chest has flattened and when your shape has become rhomboid or rectangular. Women are supposed to look like an hourglass. They're supposed to have this nice and curvy shape. But with age and with some problems, some women morph into some irregular shapes. The geometry becomes very complicated. Some of them become a parallelogram with multiple waistlines. Okay, sorry. Please don't hate me. I'm trying to make a point. But a good man will cherish you and love you. Looking as a circle, they will love you. Whether you look as a balloon, they will love you. When you look like an hourglass, they will love you. in riches and poor, in sickness and health, until death do you part. Take it easy on the man. Don't nag, don't talk too much, don't frustrate him. Understand if the brother has no money. Honest cash is very hard to find. It is so complicated for an honest man to have money, because honest ways of making money are shrinking in this planet we live in today. So support your man. Support him when he has a plan. Support him when he's down. Support him when he's up. Encourage him. Okay, let me finish by maybe giving this analogy. You are a human being, right? You have a head. Wake up every morning and bash your head every chance you get. In fact, go take a very huge stick or take a sledgehammer. Hit your head every chance you get. Bash your head. Let us see how you will survive. So every time as a woman, every time as a society, every time as a community, every time as a nation, when you are bashing your man, when you are bringing down your men, when you are belittling your men, you are bashing your head. You are slowing down your brain. You are slowing down coordination of your body. Men, let us support one another. Women, let us respect men and let us love men. Let us encourage men. I don't know if I have made my point clear this morning, but I felt like I should discuss this thing. Men as the head of our societies, men as the head of our families, men as the head as God intended it. Remember, you're the eyes, you're the ears, you're the mouth, you're the nose, you're the brain. Behave like a brain, behave like a head. Don't be a primitive person who only resorts to force and violence. Be a good man. Thank you so much for joining our discussion today. Thank you so much for listening in today. We are always honored and humbled when we have people listening. Like I say every time, I don't care how many people tune in or how many listen to this program. If I have 2 people listening, who can it transform just by listening to the voice, to my voice? I will continue doing it. Whether you are 10, whether you are 1,000, whether you are 1 million, I don't care. I have committed myself to rendering my voice to the service of my fellow men, my fellow human beings. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, you may go ahead and subscribe, and you can it's also very good when you share the content with your friends. Like the content. Liking the content is very good because the algorithm can pick up many likes, and then they can suggest it to other YouTube viewers. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will catch you next time.